Yay!
1 year.
Happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary.
1 year ago, we left Switzerland to move to Northern Norway. It has been such an incredible journey. A big move, of course, but above all, a journey of inner growth and discovery.
On est arrivé chez nous.
We thought it would be a nice opportunity to take you along on a summary of the year we spent here, while answering your various questions. We'll cover various topics such as how we moved here and found a home, what we do for a living, how Norwegians welcomed us, and more. So get comfortable and let's dive into it.
Thanks. Jane. So, let's go.
Let's get to the questions. To the questions. Okay, so first one. What hurdles did you have to go through to settle down or find a place to live in Norway? Well, as they've just seen, the biggest struggle, I think, was when we arrived in the house because of the mess that the other renters left, all the furnitures and the dirt, and yeah, I think that was the biggest struggle we had actually. So we planned the first visit of the houses in January 2023. And so we visited a few houses in the south, and then we went around here in the area in the north. And everything was set, well, most of the visits were set before leaving Switzerland, just via emails and like internet. And then some of them added up when we were here.
Especially the one that we're living in right now.
Yeah, it popped up when we were around Trondheim.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. And so we managed to plan the visit. And then we flew back to Switzerland and did all the procedures from Switzerland.
Yeah.
Like the signature of the rental contract. Here, like, you know, in some places where we asked about, you know, what they needed for us to rent, if we wanted to rent the house or the apartment, then they just told us, are you working? Yeah. Okay, so that's fine. Like, I don't need to see any salary sheet or anything. And like in Switzerland, you do have to get through a lot, and like the rental market is so saturated that. But thinking about it now, it went really smoothly actually.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking reading the question. Like, we didn't have really much hurdles.
No.
I would say.
No.
I would say like the most stressful part, and was like leaving Switzerland, like giving back the flat and selling all the stuff, and then getting the car ready and stuff. And I would say that was the hardest part. Yeah.
Yeah, because we left with no furniture, and we had a regular apartment, so we had to sell or, unfortunately, throw away what we couldn't sell. Yeah. Before leaving, and we left really as they've seen on the pictures, just with the car, the dogs, the roof box, and that was it.
Yeah, because like the procedures, well, you did most of them, so
yeah.
But I feel it wasn't like too bad.
No, and the thing, like the procedures For the house were super easy. It was just signing a
Yeah.
contract, and we did it like just from abroad.
Yeah.
And the procedures to register in Norway, you do have 3 months to get yourself registered with the immigration and the state, etc. So you don't really have to do it like before leaving or before settling down. And so that gave me some space, but it was not an easy thing, because then you have many, several appointments to take, and yeah.
Just live here.
So, second
question.
I'll keep it that way. So this,
The bloopers are gonna be funny.
that's going to be part of the video. I don't care anymore. So, what made you choose your place area to live in? My thoughts is it's inland and almost a desolated Arctic version of your home country.
So I'm not sure I understood the question really. Like the second part, like if your thoughts, like you think we chose that because it's isolated.
No, I think it was
desolated.
why move if you choose just a desolated version of your country? Like, why not stick to a not desolated?
Yeah.
I know we like desolation, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's part of the answer.
Yeah, definitely. I think the thing is that it's not that we don't like the nature and the landscapes in Switzerland. We love them. Like, we love the mountains, we love the lakes, and we love the nature. The problem is like it's population density.
Yeah.
And that's a big change with here. And so it's quite nice actually to get the mountains, the same nature, and with less people, like with no people.
And what we don't get is the sea and fjords.
Yeah, because now we live like the closest fjord is like 20 minutes drive. And so even if we don't live by the sea, then it's super easily accessible, as much as lakes.
Yeah.
And we've got the waterfall beside the house, which...
We don't get northern lights in Switzerland.
No.
Well, at least I think they got some of it this year, but it's like
Yeah, but...
once in a lifetime.
Yeah, basically.
But I think the main thing is that approximately, so you get 10 million people in Switzerland living on 41,000 square kilometers, where most of it can't be habited because 60% of that are the mountains.
It's
80% of the
villages.
population at least live in 40% of the
Yeah. Which
the
makes
surface of the country.
every city, every plateau, every village quite populated.
Yeah, and in Norway you get like half the population for 9 times the...
The surface.
Yeah, so...
Yeah. So we didn't run away from the landscapes in Switzerland, we ran away from the people in Switzerland.
Like, we didn't run away from the mountains. At least for me, it was like something really that I need. So that's also why we settled for Norway more than Sweden, for example.
Yeah.
Even though, like, financially it would be wiser to go to Sweden.
Easier at least. Yeah. And for also the Arctic version, it was also a goal by coming here up north, is that you get real winters and long winters, we're in beginning of May.
Yeah.
And we're still getting buried to knee level in some places.
Yeah. Also, why Northern Norway and not the south?
Well, when we visited in January, there was a bit of snow around Trondheim area where we went when we visited some houses. But here we flew to Narvik.
Yeah.
And we landed on the snow. So apparently, you can land on the snow in Oslo too, but that was, how it happened for us. It was only here. And then I remember so much driving from the airport and having this completely white and snowy landscape. And as the roads are also covered in ice and snow, it's just really, really completely white. And I remember in the car I was like, there's no freaking way we're gonna live in the south. We're gonna live here, that's for sure. Yeah, it's such a wonderland.
Good cake.
Third question. Interesting. Are you both equally happy with the move?
So I guess I should start to answer.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, I would say we are.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
We're both very happy, at least. So that's a good one.
Probably because I'm going back quite often on a regular basis to Switzerland. If I wasn't doing this, I guess I would miss more things than you in Switzerland.
Yeah, I was about to say we live kind of different realities with our life here. Because I really I go back to Switzerland in December for the holidays. We've done that. That's a bit of the plan.
Yeah.
Going 1 month over the holidays at the end of the year. And once another time during the year, a bit shorter, where I can just see my family and stuff. But otherwise I'm living here full time. And you're more in between the two.
Yeah.
So with our own realities, I guess we're really happy with what we're living.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's a bit sometimes I feel I have to stay a bit too long in Switzerland, or sometimes it's a bit too short in between two trips in Norway, depending on my obligations there. But I would say most of it I'm pretty happy with it, and I get to do many things that I wouldn't be able to do in Norway also. Like giving shooting classes, the Krav Maga club, driving.
Yeah, I was about to say you're missing the biggest one.
I like to drive, and there are more nicer roads to drive on.
Yeah.
Not for the sceneries, but
for the turns.
Yeah, for the turns.
For the turns and for the car also, because
For the people who are gonna mention that road, I don't know the name, but I know that road in the fjord. That's like really.
Yeah, I have the picture in
Yeah.
mind. Yeah.
Maybe I'll come one day with my car on that road.
Yeah.
With my Swiss car, we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also seeing friends and.
Would you miss that? Seeing more friends if you were living here like 100%? Would you miss the people?
A bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, if I was seeing them only
Once or twice
a year,
year.
yeah, I would.
Yeah.
But mainly like I would miss like not being able to carry on my activities that I built, like professional activities, I would say.
Yeah. Where I would be completely unhappy and overwhelmed if I were to return to Switzerland every month.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's balanced
Yeah.
for each of us, so it's good.
Ça, maman.
Okay, question 4. Have you set a time frame on how long you'll be staying? Will you be moving or staying in the same area? A time frame would be forever, I guess. And we'll talk about it more in the next video, but a few days ago we had a news from our landlord and he wants to sell the house we're living in. So we were aware that at some point he would want to sell the house, but we didn't think that it would come so soon after we moved in. So yeah, now we're kind of in a rush to see if I can get a loan, if we can get a loan. Well, if we can get a loan, then for how much and what will be our budget to buy a house. Then if we have enough budget, do we choose to buy the house we're living in at the moment or do we choose another one? So you'll probably see more house visits in the next videos. that's gonna be for sure. And if we really don't have the possibility to buy, then we'll have to rent again, but that's really a possibility that we want to avoid. And hopefully with what we've seen on the market at the moment are really, really cheap houses that we should be able to buy even if we can't get a loan. Yeah. So at first we were not planning on moving that fast from the house we're living in. We definitely want to stay in Norway.
And in the northern part of Norway.
Yeah.
So then you can argue what you feel is the north or not, but I
For
would
us,
say, yeah,
it is the north.
from Bodø and upwards.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but we don't necessarily want to stay in that specific area either. It really depends on the house and the surroundings.
Yeah, and we're going back to the criteria as we spoke about before, about being close to the mountains, remote, like isolated from other people, and
maybe by the sea. We've never lived by the sea,
I don't know. I don't know. The snow is melting way quicker by the sea than inland, so I don't know. and you get more wind, and yeah, weather can be a bit trickier by the sea, I imagine. So yeah, we'll see. In any case, if you are yourself selling a house in Northern Norway, or that you know somebody who sells a house in Northern Norway, please leave a message below.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure to have a look.
Time it's me alone. So already packed the sleeping bag and for the people who need that to think it is. Look, take it off, put it back on, so we can see on the video that I put my hat on.
Okay, that's gonna be a funny one.
So let's do a funny one.
Question 5. Have you learned any Norwegian? Or how is the Norwegian language learning for both of you?
Shoot.
Yes. Slipp meg. That's it.
No, that's not true.
No, it's not true. It's not
Well,
true.
for me almost, but
Yeah.
for you.
Then you have heja and tak. Tusen tak.
Yeah.
No, yeah, these past weeks have been pretty bad. I haven't trained a lot, but I'm learning it like a bit.
Yeah, more than just
Yeah.
a bit.
Yeah, but the thing is that as we work from home, that we don't especially want to see lots of people, then I don't have many opportunities to practice it. So it's pretty slower than what it could be if I was. This
Silence.
is barking in Norwegian. She wanted to show her skills. So, jeg lærer norsk, men jeg forstår ikke.
Yeah, but you're doing like really well. Like you can understand a lot.
No, that's the problem, is that I'm not hearing it enough, and so I really struggle. Like, I can build some sentences and, like, you know, get myself around with it, but, like, people speak pretty fast,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's hard. Like, when I you know, I've observed, like, when I know what's coming, like, what we might ask me, like, if, for example, in a store, if I want the ticket, if I'm a member of the, you know, like, of the program, then that I can understand because I kind of expect those questions, so I can spot them because I know they're gonna come probably. But when there's a question that goes out of what I'm expecting, then I'm like, eh. And so yeah, but I'm trying, and I try to speak as much as I can, but it's not a lot. Like for a year here, I could have been a bit better. So that's where we're at the moment.
And as for myself, I didn't take time to learn Norwegian
Yet.
until now. Not yet. Not yet.
Please.
And yeah, I can understand sometimes or guess what people are saying in everyday life situations thanks to my German skills, or I can guess also what's written.
Yeah.
But it's not not
Or
so easy.
you can't hold a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happened to me sometimes as well because I go back to my German skills to understand the Norwegian. That a couple of times I replied in German to people talking to me in Norwegian, like at the airport or something.
So, question number 6. How do you make money now? Content creation, or you have found a job in Norway? If the latter, any tips on doing so? So, no, content creation isn't a revenue stream at the moment. Hopefully, it will be in some time from now. That would be nice. What do we do? You love that question. You love it so much. So I'll start. So as we said earlier, we do work from home, and actually we had the chance to keep the work we had in Switzerland and kind of move it here in some way. Well, I had the main work that I left, I quit, because that I needed to be like on spot.
Yeah.
To be able to do it. But then we're working on the same project. It is a startup that is developing a software to recognize and valorize volunteering activities. And so the startup is based in Geneva, where I come from. So I do the whole work remotely, and Johan is the head of project. So he does have to be a bit more present, and that's why he's coming back, or he's going back to Switzerland every month, basically.
Yeah, that's good. So I don't have much else to say.
And for me, that's the only thing that I do.
Myself, well, my main activity is working for that startup, which is actually a non-profit association.
Yeah.
And also I have another company that I started in Switzerland that provides training in self-defense and Krav Maga and a couple other things.
And that you started
a
while back, like before we moved.
So I didn't stop that, try to organize my schedule and compact the meetings as much as possible. So when I go back, it's pretty like a sprint race.
It is, between all the activities.
And I have also a couple other activities and projects, but that's about it.
Like 6 different jobs, but that's about it. Yeah, that's you. And so, no, sorry, we don't have any tips in finding a job in Norway, because we don't have a job in Norway. So, though I'm not like employed for the Swiss company, so I had to open my own like sole proprietorship company here, but that was like super easy to do once I was registered, so that I can bill the startup in like the association in Switzerland. And that's it. But that's more administrative details than really a job. question 7 that I prepared because voilà. So
Because voila. All right.
you will see.
What's that question?
So question 7, what's the average expenses over a month for you? It depends what you include in it, but I just made a summary of the main like expenses that are like related to where we live, basically. And I'll put, I don't know, some exchanges rate here. Because the Norwegian kroners might not speak to everyone. So for the house that we're renting, so the rent, the insurance, and basically the electricity in winter, which is
The most expensive.
5 times more than in summer, something like that. We spend on average 12,400 Norwegian crowns. Crowns? Do we say that?
Yeah.
Kroner? Yeah, so 12,400. For the food, it depends, but approximately between 9,000 and 10,000 Norwegian crowns. Then, which is a fixed expense also, each month it's your trips going back to Switzerland. So that's approximately, with the plane and the train, 5,000 crowns.
Yeah.
Then the taxes, I haven't completed my my tax declaration yet, so I can't tell you that. I don't know what I'm gonna pay. But I know it's gonna be a lot because it is a lot here and it was already a lot in Switzerland. So, but a bit more is included in the taxes here compared to Switzerland. So it might be even a bit more expensive, but yeah. And then we have dog food, health insurances.
Especially as I have the Swiss health insurance.
Yeah.
Which is
that's the most expensive.
Almost 7,000.
Yeah, I think it's a bit less.
Crowns.
But yeah, something like that. Yeah. So all of this, if we buy some furnitures during the month, the fuel between what we spend here, which is not much here because we're not driving a lot, and what Johan drives in Switzerland. So those are all kind of not stable expenses over the month, but approximately for us 4, 2 humans, 2 dogs. Without the taxes and the pension, we do spend approximately 66,000 Norwegian crown, which is a lot. And even if we're not spending that, like, you know, we're not restraining ourselves too much. But yeah, it's not cheap, that's for sure. But I think that Norway is known for being an expensive country, just as Switzerland. Like,
if we really needed to, we could cut some expenses, definitely. But at the same time, we're not like going on crazy holidays. We're not doing expensive activities. No.
Leisure activities.
We don't go to the restaurant often.
No. So yeah, all that put together, we like you know, I don't want to restrain myself on the food that I buy, and so yes, it is expensive for sure. question 8. How much does Norwegian society embrace immigration? Have you encountered anything that makes you feel uncomfortable? I was super pleased when we came, like in January 2023, to visit the houses. I was afraid that people would, be a bit reluctant to rent their house to foreigners that haven't even moved here yet, etc., etc. But they honestly were all pretty welcoming and nice, and they didn't really bother with that. So that first impression was pretty good. And I don't know, now living here, well, the last example that I have in mind is when I went to exchange my driving license from the Swiss one to a Norwegian one. And like when I asked, because I always, first, I don't handle Norwegian well enough to have such conversations. So I always ask in Norwegian if people speak English. And the lady, but that might be just my interpretation, the lady seemed a bit pissed and a bit judgmental, having to deal with one more moron that doesn't speak Norwegian, but that might have been just, how I perceived it. Most often people are super helping, and sometimes even too much, because I want to try to speak Norwegian and they directly switch to English when they see that I struggle because they want to help. Our landlord has been super nice, helping us with, taking on some, the internet when we arrived, because I couldn't take it, the electricity, etc.
Well, most of the people have been really nice.
Yeah. And then on the videos, I think the worst we've experienced, I think, at least for me, even if it was just written form, was some xenophobic comments on the first videos that we made about moving here. Yeah. There we got some nasty comments, yeah. But it was a minority, but it still hurts. But I guess it's not more than what you would get somewhere else. These people unfortunately exist everywhere, so...
If I remember correctly, the question was about someone living in the UK?
Yeah.
But I guess also our culture is not so different. Obviously there are some differences, but not so different from Norway. And we don't come and try to impose our culture.
No. No.
We know it's not our home country, so we also adapt to the culture that's in place in that country, and I think that changes a lot also of the differences attitude. And the attitude you have towards the culture in the country you live in.
Yeah.
And when you're in your home country,
showing that you try to blend in and to just not be another foreigner, staying here, not caring about where you live. And
maybe that's not going to please some people, but I guess the main difference we see is regarding work discipline.
Yes.
That's it's not quite the same as in Switzerland, regarding the schedule and the work ethic and when you make mistakes and stuff. And
but I
we've
think
had a couple experiences with that.
But I think it's also a lesson, for us. I like the fact, at least from what I read, and I think you can feel it, is that people here, you don't really have any hierarchy between people, no matter you're a high professor and expert or you're a student, then everybody is on the same page and everyone is at the same level. And I don't know, that's very humbling. And it's sure, when you're expecting a service to be provided and that you are the one losing time because, people are not doing their job as fully as they could, let's say, then it's bothering. But I think we've got to let go of part of it, because we're super... On est stramm.
Super strict.
We're super strict in Switzerland, and that's also what creates so much frustration and dissatisfaction. And I think I think it's not that of a bad thing. I think we have to learn from that
Yeah.
and just learn to let go of it.
But I was
and-
quite surprised at the same time because there are many people going to the army in Norway as well. So I was
Yeah.
wondering, yes, for the person asking that question, where to move and being afraid of how he or she might be welcomed in another country, then of course there are some countries where it's going to be harder than others, but if you try
That
to
was
embrace
true,
the
Norwegian.
culture you go to, then I think it's the best way to approach this.
Yeah. Je sais pas. Okay. Question 9. How do you feel being completely absorbed by nature every day? That's a beautiful one. Incredible? No, it is so, I don't know, a mix between a freeing, relaxing sensation, both for the mind, the body, and the soul. And I don't know, it's just what I was dreaming for when moving here, definitely. And I think that as we will look for potential houses now, we'll even try to be even more
Yeah.
into nature, though we are really at the bottom of a mountain, so it's like we leave back from the house and we're in the mountains and where there's nobody else. There's still the road in front of the house. That is a bit bothering. So, yeah. But to answer the question, it felt incredible. Super resourcing. And it's not every day, but still, every day you're here.
I would say it feels, if I think about it, it feels like kind of natural
Yeah.
for me. Like, because back in Switzerland, then I never lived in a city. I lived in a small village. Didn't really used to go often, like go out to go in a city.
Yeah.
So I was studying in a city for a bit, but still, like when I was going out, it was to go into nature most of the time, in the mountains or in the forest or stuff. So either I was staying home and playing computer games or things like that, or I was going really in the nature, even if I had to take the car to go into nature. But so I would say it feels amazing to be able to do that without taking the car and like going backcountry skiing right from our backyard, having like great spaces without seeing villages and houses.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, it feels kind of the way it should be.
Yeah, definitely. Spent most of my life in the city, unfortunately. So for me, it was even of a bigger change, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. Question 10. Do you miss me? Of course I do! But I was already missing you in Switzerland because we were not living in the same city, so... So yes, I do miss you, my dear, a lot. But I enjoy every call that we do every week, so... Yes. Question 11. Do you have thoughts of giving up everything and returning to your usual way of life, or has this already become a habitual way of life?
So is that a question asking if we're giving everything up to go back to the life we had in Switzerland?
Yes.
Is that the question?
Yes, that's how I understand it at least. But I think your words say it all, is that the usual way of life for us is this one.
Yeah.
Like, even if in terms of years of practice, it has been another way. Like, we spent our whole life in Switzerland, still in the fuss and the mess of, even if you were not living in the city, it's still another atmosphere, another, I don't know, at least for me, it's another feeling and another energy. But at least for me, it never felt right. It never felt like it's where I belonged. It never felt as it was my normal way of being or, of living in this world. So definitely now, this is the usual way of life. This is what was meant to be. This is where I belong. No matter the country, I mean, it's just the energy and the place, the nature around, and the slower pace that we have daily. That's what's normal for me, definitely.
And anyway, from what we've heard, many Norwegian people feel it's more natural to live in Switzerland, so that's a good exchange.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right. We have
we can trade places. We're not taking any more places than you guys are in Switzerland.
No.
So.
In January 2023, when we came, we wanted to visit a house that was in the Lofoten Islands. And actually the guy was renting his house because he left to go and live in Switzerland for a while. And that was super funny. He was more in the Swiss-German part, but that was quite funny, yeah. But we had many comments on people saying that Norwegian were moving to Switzerland. And so to answer the question, no, we're not, absolutely not considering going back to what was before, whatever the label of it.
Even like if we had to, that would be just like temporary solution if we had like a problem or something.
Oh my goodness, no.
But like of course, if like for example with the house, if we couldn't find something in the meantime or something like because of the time frame and everything, because we need to move and the landlord sold our house and you couldn't rent anything straight away, then of course we would still be able to go back to Switzerland then for a couple months or but that is not the goal.
No, it gives me anxiety just to think about it. No.
Yeah,
no
and maybe
I would get the backpack and we will go up there, just get a tent and we'll wait for things to happen, and that's gonna be it. that was the last one.
Was it?
Yes.
So we can eat some more cake. That's good.
That's the closing word.
Closing words, yeah. We didn't take
A clap, clap.
a clap, clap.
Yeah. So that was the last one.
Yeah.
So
So we need at least as many questions for us to do another one.
yeah, at least. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed it, that it was either helpful or interesting or distracting, whatever you need now. And it was fun to do.
Yeah,
It was fun to have some cake to eat. That was a good excuse. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Voilà. You can stretch your legs.
Help me get up. Ah, fuck. How is it going?
It's going okay.
Okay.
It's going okay.
Déjà.